Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janey Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi and welcome to the podcast. I hope you've had a good week. I want to start by saying a huge thank you to people who've messaged me this week. I've had loads of messages. I think that podcast, last week's podcast with Mark Wolin, really hit a nerve. It was. I do feel really blessed. I've got Mark on the podcast. So lovely of him to be willing to join me. And the book, It Didn't Start With You. Wow, I should be on commission for that. It's flying. It's such a good book. I think anyone who can explain this stuff about inherited family trauma really does kind of need a little bit of a medal. So anyway, I had an amazing response. People saying, that maybe for the first time they'd realised that, yeah, their past is affecting their present. It really is. I know that we all know we've got stuff, right? Of course we do. Everyone knows they've got baggage, but I don't think necessarily we always kind of link stuff that happened to us as children as trauma. And as I said last week, it can be trauma with a big T, like the big stuff that we know would have a massive impact later in life. But it can also be the trauma with a little t. It's that too, isn't it? And many of us have got lots of that. And as we discussed in that podcast, the likelihood of then having an addiction later in life is so high. And while that lets us off the hook in a way, because it means, it's not our fault, we can blame our parents, or we can blame, in inverted commas, other generations. Of course, it may not be our fault, may well not be, but it is our responsibility now, once we can see it, to be able to heal it. And I think that's the beauty of this work. It brings stuff to the forefront that needs looking at. Some people just never look at this stuff their whole life. They literally don't. They drink too much. They take too many drugs. They're miserable. They don't fulfill their dreams. They don't live their best lives, to quote that lovely expression. They live kind of half a life. And if you really ask them what's going on, they've got some hang up from something that happened a long, long time ago, and that makes it sound flippant. It's not. This stuff's deeply ingrained. And I think that podcast and some of Mark's words maybe really help some people to recognise actually they are really bearing grudges, or they are really feeling just like they don't have a place. And that is what Family Constellations comes down to, really. So another massive plug for the event that I'm hosting on November the 28th, Sunday, November the 28th. I know not everyone can get to Hertfordshire, but if it is possible for you, do have a look at this event, because I think it's going to be, it could potentially be a life changer for some people. It certainly was for me when I first did Constellations. And whether you're an issue holder, as it were, whether we're looking exactly at your thing, or whether you are a representative in someone else's issue, the impact can be massive. And most people leave these workshops feeling really uplifted and with that kind of sense of compassion. It can be really, really powerful work. So please have a look. It's a Family Constellations Day that I'm hosting in Kings Langley in Hertfordshire, Sunday 28th of November. There are still some tickets left. If you go to thesoberclub.com and click on events, you can find the info there. You can also look at the show notes. We'll give you the link there to book your space. It'd be fantastic to meet some of you. Everyone's welcome, over 18s, because of the sensitive nature. And despite the fact that sometimes some of the topics that we sort of end up discussing are, not the happiest. Where if you had a parent who was an alcoholic, or if you had a strange sibling, or if it's about abortion or whatever, all these big things in life, they're not always the happiest topics, of course. But somehow the essence of these events, of this kind of work, tends to be really, really uplifting. It has been called homeopathy for the soul. And many of you have heard me talk about it before. I'm eternally grateful to Julie Toms, who was the practitioner I worked with many years ago. And I really believe she changed my life, as I said last week on the podcast with Mark. So anyways, there's the plug for that event. I'd love it if you could come. We're right at the start. Well, Monday is the start of Alcohol Awareness Week. And this is all linked to the great charity Alcohol Change UK. I've interviewed Richard on the podcast before, quite a while ago now. I'll have to get him back at some point. And I've done, various events for them. They're doing some amazing work, and there's lots and lots going on for Alcohol Awareness Week. But I thought we'd flag up just one thing that's going on, because, of course, this guy is very close to my heart because I met him when he was only 3 weeks sober, and I was a little bit ahead of him. We're talking SoberDave, who is doing a live-a-thon on Monday. So I thought you might want to hear from Dave, hear what's going on, and I'm going to be popping up as part of that as well. So here's Dave. Well, look who it is, SoberDave. How lovely to see you. How you doing?
I'm really good, actually. I feel all right today. I've woken up my usual 5 o'clock in the morning, and I've done loads of admin, and I'm on fire now.
Brilliant. This is amazing, isn't it? Being sober gives you so much more time.
And energy.
And productivity. And yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I was just asking you if you were busy, and it sounds like it's off the scale for you.
Yeah, I've got a million things in the mix going on. As you know, I'm doing a thing Monday, this live-a-thon for Alcohol Change UK.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about, definitely. Just before we get into that, just tell us a bit about Alcohol Change and, how you came across their work. I think I first came across Alcohol Change at a Club Soda event, and then I interviewed them at one of my events. And they're just doing amazing work, aren't they? Tell us a bit, because you've obviously connected much more recently than I have.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was the same as you. I stumbled across them when I first became sober because I was Googling support networks and things like that. And I came across their website, and I found it incredibly factual, and a lot of what they were saying was what I'd experienced, And then, of course, I came to one of your events.
Yeah, the self-care and sobriety, yeah.
Yeah, and Richard Piper was there on the
that's
stage.
right.
And since then, we've become good friends, and we quite often talk on the phone about different projects. And I feel really honoured that they made me ambassador as well. So I do work with them, alongside them, and they're doing the sober shaming campaign.
Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I just think that we're probably, and you probably admit as well, Janey, that in the past we've done it ourselves. I've certainly been out with some friends, and one of them said to me, "I'm not drinking," and I've shamed them.
Yeah.
And now I'm sober, and I look into it more. It is bullying. So we're working really to remove that message that people give out, and I think it's such an important message to give, because everyone's looking for health style change, lifestyle change, aren't they? So I think hoping that one day it'd be like smoking, where we just don't even question it when we say we're not drinking.
Yeah, it'd definitely be very nice, wouldn't it, when it's as normal to be seen not drinking as to be seen drinking. I think that's probably the best we can hope for, at least.
Yeah.
So it's Alcohol Awareness Week next week.
Yeah.
I imagine there's lots of things going on. And obviously you're doing this live-a-thon. Just before we get into that, do you know any of the other projects that are happening next week at all?
Yeah, I do, actually. Me and Em made a film for Alcohol Change UK, and I've seen it now, and it's incredibly moving. I talk very honestly about what it was like for me being in my marriage when I was drinking, but Em actually talks about what it was like for her. And we were interviewed separately. I had no idea what she was talking about, and vice versa. And when the film was sent to me the other day, I was a bit nervous about it, actually, but it's so beautifully done. And that's 7 minutes long, and that's being released Monday at 9 a.m.
Great.
Across everywhere, literally. And I think it might even be shown on a meeting with Parliament. I think Relate are getting involved with it, and across the press. But it's basically, the theme is like about alcohol relationships.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. I know Millie Gooch is doing something as well for Alcohol Change next week. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but there's just so many things going on in that week. And I think it's really important to raise awareness, especially before the festive period, because I was out yesterday up the Strand, right? And I could see groups of people, and it felt like the Christmas parties were starting early for some reason. And I thought, this is a real sensitive time for a lot of people, whether they're drinking or they're partners of drinkers, that there's a lot of socialising and that going on in the next few weeks. And I think it's perfect timing, actually, to have it next week.
Yeah. So tell us about this live-a-thon then. What you're going to be doing? You're going to be talking, yeah?
I'm going to be in this chair from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m.
Yeah.
I've invited 60 people from all over the world, including your lovely self. And basically, I'm having 60, 15-minute lives, having a chit-chat. It's not all going to be heavy. It's not all going to be serious. I've got my friend, Big Fat Greek Mother, coming on. She's coming on as a character, Auntie Fanula. I've got a guy called Trey Lewis, who's a Nashville country and western singer. He's doing a live version of his latest song, Little Tired, which is about addiction. He's singing that live from Nashville. My friend Adam Gabber podcast is coming on. I'm going on to Radio London the day before to talk to Gabby Roslin about the event. So there's a lot of buzz around it, because it's never been done before. And I'm just hoping that it's going to be relatively smooth. Do you know what I mean?
I hope you're going to get the odd break to go to the loo and grab some food.
Well, I mean, I've got 20-minute gaps, so I've got 5 minutes in between. So I'd be literally dashing in the house and back in again. But I said to him that, do you know what? If I actually do have a half an hour break, I think I would struggle to come back onto it. So I'm just going to sort of nestle down in this office and make sure there's plenty of coffee about and whatever, and just each guest to give me a boost of adrenaline. And I think at the end of it, there'd be a lot of important conversation about their own journeys, tips and tricks for how they became sober. You can talk about your sober club. There's so many different things that
I think it's such a brilliant idea, because I think when you're trapped in that, and when you're in that alcohol trap, you just have no idea that there's a whole world out there of, in inverted commas, normal people. I got a message from somebody the other day who said that she'd been drinking, for years, and she'd heard me mention something on the radio. It was just totally in passing, that there was a conversation about booze, and I'd said, "Oh, I don't drink anymore. I used to," and all of a sudden she kind of thought, "Well, hold on a minute. Janey's kind of normal in inverted commas, so that's weird." She had never considered that there's a whole world out there of completely okay people. She really still had that perception of it really is only those people who are completely at rock bottom and need rehab, and that didn't fit with her profile. So it's just to be able to open up all these conversations and all these different completely non-judgmental ways of looking at it. It's brilliant. It's super exciting.
You know what? When I met you, right, I think I was 3 weeks sober, and I walked into the Jago and it was packed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually.
And I was petrified, because I've been drinking 40 years.
Wow. But
now, as it proves with my life, there's 60 people, and I could have added another 160 people.
Yeah.
And I know it's a lot of people are virtual friends and that, but I know so many people through the sober community now, but really genuine friendships that I know that if I was in trouble, they would honestly come and help me or support me in that. And that's true friendship to me. And
it really is.
About the friendship before, it almost feels fake now.
Yeah.
All the boozy companions in the pubs where you go in and then fall out the pub drunk. And it's like, God, there's a real, not just for my health benefits, but as in my friendships now, there's real value to my life now, that I know so many really lovely people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's just amazing. I do think that when you become sober, you definitely become more kind and
Yeah,
more compassionate
yeah,
and also much more supportive of everyone else. That's definitely a thing in the sober club. You get people who become your cheerleaders, even
yeah.
if they're not doing the same thing as you. It really is an amazing community. So, anyways, so tell us, you're going to be doing this all day Monday, and as you say, you've got all these guests. So, how can people get involved? What's the situation about donating? How does that work?
Well, I'm live from 8 a.m. on my Instagram at SoberDave and until 11. There's a link on my bio on my page that goes straight through to, it says Live-a-thon charity donation. I mean, I've already raised 1,320 quid and it hasn't even
Wow,
started yet, which is amazing. I've
fantastic.
had some fantastic donations,
Yeah.
And on the day, throughout the day, even if it's a fiver or a tenner, the cost of a bottle of wine or a couple of coffees and that, it all goes to help towards an incredible charity who do amazing work. They're an independent charity. And every penny goes towards breaking the stigma, helping people with problems with alcohol. It's just a brilliant organisation. And that's why I really tried to support them. Last year I did that. I don't know if you remember that 600-mile Peloton thing I did. That
Oh
really
yeah.
killed me.
Yeah.
But,
You're still recovering.
yeah, but people were really generous then. But I think this one, because I always say, like yesterday, I put in a post that it's like buying a ticket for a show.
Yeah.
You can see amazing people throughout the day talking about all sorts of things, and I just think, for a tenner to see that dip in and out throughout the day or 20, it's well worth the value, and they know it's going for a good cause. So as I say, the links on my bio on my page.
Yeah.
Easy to do, and that'll be open for the next few days anyway.
Brilliant. Well, look after yourself, Dave. Make sure you've got, you don't lose your voice or anything.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be good, would it? Right?
No. I'll have to have subtitles. But and you're coming on that as well, aren't you?
Yeah. Lunchtime, I'm gonna have a chat. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be a great,
Oh,
great day.
thanks.
Well, it's really lovely to catch up. Well done, you, on everything you're doing. Say hi to Richard for me, and I'll put that link to donate in the show notes as well.
Oh, thank you, Janey.
Great to see you.
Right, lovely to see
Take
you.
care. Bye.
Bye.
So if you go onto Instagram on Monday, you can catch bits of that, or the whole thing if you're up for it. Good old Dave doing what he does best, talking all day. Fantastic. And I'll be popping up, I think it's just after midday, to have a chat on there as well. And if you'd like to make a donation, I can't tell you the link. It's too many interesting words and phrases. But if you go to my show notes, you'll see the link there. And I'll make sure that I pop it on social media as well. So please donate. It's a really, really special charity, and it would be great if you wanted to donate to it. And then the other thing that I wanted to tell you about was I heard about another event all about, well, it's a bunch of authors who are doing a panel online. And the purpose of this event, this online event, is to discuss the theme of relationships and alcohol and explore how dependency and addiction are represented in the media, particularly with a focus on books. I mean, this is such a fascinating topic, isn't it? Because we all know that every film we put on, every TV series, everything, the media just throw alcohol at us and addiction at us the whole time. But interestingly, it's not always in the most helpful way, as we've discussed many times on the podcast. You listen to, a thread on Radio 4 or The Archers or whatever it might be, and there'll be someone going through some kind of addiction crisis. But almost always they are at rock bottom. And when you listen, if you're a grey area drinker, I talk about this all the time, but if you're someone who can stop, has stopped, and is somewhere on that spectrum, but is not at rock bottom, when you hear, when you only hear about people who are either seemingly completely fine and it's perfectly normal, and then the people who are at completely rock bottom, there's a tendency to think, oh, thank God I'm not that bad. I don't need to do anything about it. That's what kept me stuck for years and years and years. As you know, I've said it so many times, rocking up to a GP or going to a therapist and sharing my concerns and them saying, well, you seem completely fine, it's completely normal. So anyways, books are, in a way, when you think about it, also really, really interesting in how many books portray addiction. So on this event, they've got Bryony Gordon, Douglas Stewart and Lisa Harding, who've all written on addiction. And so they're going to be chatting about how they think the narrative can be changed. And the charity sponsors for the evening are AdFam. And all of the money raised through the ticket sales for this online event are going to be donated to AdFam. So that's just a really fantastic charity, because, again, we want people reading, right? But wouldn't it be great if we can sometimes, discover narrative accounts that do resemble our own? So it's perfect that this is, again, happening as part of Alcohol Awareness Week. So AdFam are the charity sponsors, and it's been put together by Tandem. And as I say, it's Bryony Gordon, Douglas Smart, Lisa Hardin, and Kathy McCulloch. Apologies, I missed Kathy off there. And it's all put together by Tandem, as I say. So anyways, again, I'll put the link on the show notes for you there. If you'd like to donate to that. So, I think Alcohol Awareness Week is as good a time as any to just become really aware of that, well, to quote that phrase again, as first coined by Jason Vale, alcohol is the only drug we have to justify not taking. Let's get really clear on that. We're coming up to Christmas, and as Dave was saying earlier, people are going to be seeing that as a license to just completely overdo it. And how sad. If this is your opportunity, make this your first rocking it sober Christmas. How cool would that be? Just had a lovely few posts in the Sober Club. Someone just aced, as she put it. I've just aced my first all-inclusive holiday, completely sober. This stuff can be done. It really can. And the sense of elation when you realise that you can live your life free from the alcohol trap, man, that is actually freedom. So, anyways, I've told you about a lot of stuff this week. Look at the show notes and all the links will be there. Don't forget to get your tickets for that event on Sunday, the 28th of November. It's Kings Langley in Hertfordshire. It's family Constellations. All are welcome. And it would be great to meet some of you there. Make sure you follow me on social media at Janey Lee Grace. And I'm always here if you want to send me a message. If you are just starting out at the beginning of this journey, then you know what I'm going to say. You've got to tell someone. It may not necessarily have to be your partner or your best friend, because it's good to tell someone who's been there, done it, and got that T-shirt. So you can always tell me. And goes without saying, connection is everything. Staying connected is such a big part of this. Just knowing that there's a whole world out there of people who have, done this before you, and they've already been through what you're going to go through, potentially. They've come out the other side. They're feeling amazing. They're free from the alcohol trap. Yeah, their life may not be perfect, but they know it's possible. And if you join in with those kind of people, if you connect with them, it gets so much easier. So please have a look at thesoberclub.com. Come and see if you want to join us in our community. If you've got any questions, just reach out. I had a couple of people this week just saying, well, I'm not sure if it's for me, because one person said, I'm not. I actually stopped drinking because I had to, because it was found that I had a definite allergy to alcohol. So I wonder whether the Sober Club is for me. And my answer to that would be, well, it depends whether or not you want to be happily alcohol free. If so, then yeah, come on down. I don't care how you got sober. It really doesn't make any difference. And if you're just on day one, that's absolutely fine too, because we're focusing on optimum health and well-being. And obviously I would say that is, it's imperative that that's underpinned by sobriety, right? So anyways, check it out, thesoberclub.com. Enjoy Alcohol Awareness Week, and I'll see some of you on that Instagram live along with Dave on Monday. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.